If you want a masterclass in mid-match tactical adjustments and raw psychological resilience, you're in the exact right place. Okay, let's dive into this explainer. Today, we're breaking down the epic 2026 Women's Volleyball Nations League final in Macau, China, tracing exactly how Turkey claimed the ultimate championship crown. We're going to map out how this championship was won, focusing on how a team can absorb a massive early blow and completely rewrite the script of a match. The commentators actually hit the nail on the head right away with this quote: "There's more blocks in that first set than we get in a match sometimes." Think about why that matters for a second. At this elite international level, offenses run so fast and efficiently. Getting multiple blocks in a single set, it's incredibly difficult. The hitters are just too good. But we're jumping straight into a high-stakes clash that was instantly defined by an absolute defensive war at the net. Both teams came into this final ready to build a wall, and the intensity was literally off the charts from the very first serve.
Section 1. Brazil takes set 1 in a defensive war. Let's look at how this match opened up.
Think about this early tactical chess match. Brazil deployed 3 front-row attackers, featuring players like Ana Cristina and Kissy, who were just constantly shifting their defensive alignment. Why? To try and neutralize Turkey's superstar heavy hitters, Vargas and Baladin. Tactically, when Brazil shifts their blockers dynamically like this, they're basically trying to take away the heavy hitters' preferred cross-court angles. They want to force Vargas and Baladin to hit low-percentage line shots or off-speed tips, completely throwing off their rhythm. It was a brilliant, highly organized scheme by Brazil, making Turkey work agonizingly hard for every single point.
And, well, that early aggressive strategy totally paid off on the scoreboard. Thanks to an incredible top swing from Kissy, who came right off the bench and immediately delivered in the clutch, Brazil capitalized on their defensive momentum. They snagged the first set 25-23. It was a tight, gritty win, and it definitely put Turkey back on their heels. But here's the absolute key takeaway. This early Brazilian dominance acted as the ultimate foil. This setback was the exact catalyst that forced Turkey to dig incredibly deep, sparking the tactical changes that would secure their eventual championship win.
Section 2. Turkey evens the score in a do-or-die set 2. Down 1-0, the narrative shifted drastically. To claw their way back, Turkey needed a hero, right? And Hande Baladin delivered an absolute defensive masterclass. First, she brilliantly reads the Brazilian offense. By watching the setter's body language, she instantly recognizes she has no play on the fast first tempo set to the middle. So, instead of hesitating, she locks her focus completely on her specific outside hitter. She gets her timing absolutely perfect, penetrating her hands aggressively over the net to just steal that airspace and secures a monster one-on-one block that gave Turkey a crucial set point. It's exactly the kind of individual tactical brilliance that shifts entire matches.
Now, if you've ever played a competitive sport, you know this exact suffocating feeling. After a crazy scramble, some incredible reflex digs, and a free ball given up by Brazil during a wild, drawn-out rally, the tension on the court absolutely peaked. Just imagine the immense pressure of knowing you need one single successful side out to survive the set and keep your championship hopes alive. So can Turkey get this done when the entire stadium knows what's on the line?
While when they needed it most, they went to their most reliable weapon. They fed the ball to Vargas, and no surprise, she did not miss. But what's crucial here is how she executed it. She didn't just swing blindly, She used her massive vertical leap to contact the ball at its absolute highest point, employing this aggressive wrist snap to power the ball past a fully formed block. That is what a champion does. They demand the ball in the highest pressure moments, and they deliver. That massive swing delivered the final blow to take the set 25-23, evening the overall match score at 1-all.
Section 3. The momentum snowballs as Turkey takes control. Tying the match completely flipped the psychological script on the court.
Turkey's breathtaking comeback in the third set was fueled by a combination of a few critical factors. First, you had Baladin playing with a newfound competitive swagger, even giving a little look through the net after squeezing the ball down the blocker's hands. Gotta love that. Second, you had Vargas hitting ridiculous, seemingly impossible angles that literally had the Brazilian defenders playing what looked like dodgeball. And tactically, you had Gunas and Sisal completely shutting down the net. They were perfectly sealing the block, which means they were closing the gap between their arms so tightly that there was zero seams for the Brazilian hitters to exploit. It forced them into incredibly low percentage shots.
This specific moment brilliantly illustrates the pure anxiety woven into championship volleyball. During a critical video challenge by Brazil late in the third set regarding a potential touch on the block, the commentators noted this vivid scene. The entire Turkish squad was just staring at the screen, holding their collective breath. It is a perfect snapshot of how razor-thin the margins are at this level. Spoiler alert though, it didn't catch a Turkish finger and the call went their way. But beyond the point itself, this moment of intense, breathless unity perfectly defined Turkey's championship mindset. They were completely, absolutely locked in together.
By the midpoint of set 4, the contrast was glaringly obvious. On one side of the net, Brazil's desperation was creeping in. They were challenging phantom touches on the block and making uncharacteristic transition errors as they just scrambled to find answers. On the other side, Turkey was a picture of clinical execution. Cecil was cleanly shutting down attacks with perfect footwork, and Vargas was calmly getting right back to business, burying spikes exactly when and where they were needed. The tactical discipline from Turkey was simply overwhelming.
Which brings us to the climax. As the broadcast commentators screamed, "That's it, it's all over, Turkey have done it." With Şahin serving match point, Brazil absolutely had to side out to stay alive. But here is the tactical reality. Because Turkey's blockers had taken away all their preferred cross-court shots, Brazil's hitters panicked under the suffocating defensive pressure. They tried to force a sharp angle, hit the ball right into transition, and failed to score, which instantly sparked wild, well-deserved celebrations on the Turkish side of the court.
Just like that, the comeback was officially complete. Turkey, after dropping a grueling first set and facing down elimination in the second, stormed back to be crowned the 2026 VNL champions. It was a breathtaking display of mental toughness on the world's biggest stage. For anyone watching, whether you're a fan or a coach, this is a masterclass in never abandoning your game plan. Even when their system was failing early against Brazil's relentless block, Turkey trusted their adjustments, leaned on their superstars, and fundamentally broke their opponent's will.
Mapping out the match's momentum, we can clearly see the anatomy of this championship win. Set 1 belonged entirely to Brazil's dominance at the net, but surviving the do-or-die pressure of Set 2 with Vargas's clutch side-out was the absolute pivot point of the match. That single, perfectly executed swing broke Brazil's momentum and unlocked Turkey's own suffocating defense. It allowed them to completely dictate the tactical terms of engagement throughout Sets 3 and 4. Which leaves us with this final thought. Considering their incredible resilience to bounce back from an opening set defeat, their elite ability to make mid-match tactical adjustments, and their overwhelming offensive firepower under the most intense pressure imaginable, has this Turkish squad just established a new global dynasty? Are we looking at the dawn of a dominant new era in women's international volleyball? Based on the championship pedigree they showed on the court in Macau, it's a question the rest of the world is going to have to answer very soon.